back here at the camper here in Florida. I'm going to do a quick gear review of the stuff I had today. I got off the AT. Most of the stuff managed to go the entire 1,600 miles roughly that I hiked. Did change some things along the way, sent a few things home, but most of it went the whole way, so we're going to go through it real quick. I'm not going to really review each item, just kind of go through what I had and then do videos later on specific items and how it worked out. So what I wore toward the end of the hike, it was hunting season, so I always wore this orange buff. I had this AT buff I started with, and then once it got colder, I'd wear it around my neck, so that worked pretty good. Kind of keep your neck warm. Had some Injinji toe sock liners. These are wool. They work very well, especially when I went from wearing Chacos. Hiked in Chacos for 1,400 miles, and then the last bit I hiked in a pair of hiking shoes. So I got these when I started wearing hiking shoes, and I only had a blister once on the back of my heel. So these worked out very well. And then I had the AT Darn Tough socks. I can't remember when I got these. I went through 2 pair of Darn Toughs. They were already several years old when I started. These probably had 600 miles on them, and no holes. It was still hanging in there, so they may have made it the rest. And underwear, Duluth Trading Buck Naked. This particular one had the little pockets, which is handy if you went into town or something, you had extra cash, you could stick that in there. So if by chance some stuff got stolen, you got robbed or something, you still got some money on it. Picked these up along the way, I think in northern Pennsylvania. Smart wool shorts. They originally had like an underwear liner, but that liner and it came all to pieces, so I cut it out. The waistband, I'm assuming from my pack, it wore out in the back, but it was elastic. I thought about cutting the drawstring out altogether. I wasn't using it. These things have well over 1,000 miles on them. I mean, you can't. I mean, other than that, there's still no holes. They were great. Real light, comfortable, even though they're wool. They were really cool when it was still hot. So yeah, this was a good buy. A hiking shirt. I got this just before New Hampshire because of all the exposed ridge lines. I wanted the hood to protect from the sun because I wasn't carrying sunscreen. The North Face had some holes in the sleeves where you could put it down over your palm to protect the sun. I wore hiking gloves, so I never did that, but no holes, no wear and tear. It did have one little spot there where the stitching was starting to fail. But other than that, it was a great shirt. And then my Shimon, I've worn this for hikes well before the AT. Had this thing for years. I believe I ordered it from Bud K. I always wore it around my neck. Summer, winter, didn't matter. Summertime, great for wiping the sweat. Wintertime, your nose is running, stuff like that. So, yeah, no, you just wipe snot. It's hiker trash. Yeah, it's better than the back of your hand or something. So, and even though this thing's cotton, it was typically dry the next morning. I just hang it over my camera inside my under my tarp, and the next day the sweat and stuff would be dry. So I picked this up along the way. It's a Fajal Raven fanny pack. Got it in an outfitter. This is to keep my phone and wallet and stuff. I have a zipper pocket on the back. I kept my headphones, which are the ones that came with my phone. And then a Swiss Army knife. I had a little Swiss Army knife. It had just the scissors and the file. But the scissors did not work very well for fingernails and toenails, etc. So I carry this with me daily anyway, so I just took it with me. I use the scissors a lot, the knife blade a lot. I have a little saw blade, used it a couple times. And I remember in Shenandoah I was at a wayside, and an Indian lady from India that was there, that came up, wanted to know if I had a corkscrew. So I even used the corkscrew. And this little parcel hook, there's one time I remember my steaks, I couldn't get them out of the dirt. That works great to pull a steak. Well, you could use a stick or something, so, but that's the knife I carried. Inside the fanny pack was my phone I used for taking pictures, Samsung Galaxy S10, and an OtterBox. I had this GoPuck battery banks at 10,000 milliamp hour. Picked this up at Angel's Rest Hiker Hostel. It was in the hiker box. I have a bigger battery bank, but really the only time I needed all that power was a 100-mile wilderness. So if I stayed on the trail, I'd have probably sent that home and just used it. And then in this little mesh pocket, I had this Equinox kangaroo pouch or something's the name of it. But it's driver's license, debit card, stuff like that. And then any snacks for the day, like a candy bar or something like that. I had plenty of room. I just throw in there with that. This was water resistant. But using the umbrella around my waist, it stayed dry. And then if I ever wore my raincoat, it was over top of it. So everything stayed dry on that pretty good. Before I got the fanny pack, I had this little dry bag. It's like a 1 liter. And I'd put my phone and electronics if it started raining. Once I got the fanny pack, I never used it. So I probably sent it home, but it has virtually no weight. If I went back hiking tomorrow, I probably wouldn't take it with me. This little wristband from Angel's Rest is going to give me free laundry at another hostel. And then of course when I went to the hostel, I forgot all about it. And then I also carried my trekking pole. Had the camera mount. I could put that on there. Mount my phone. I had this little remote where I could take pictures. So if I wanted to take a picture and like stand on a rock, nobody's around, I could just set the camera up over there, snap my own picture, and go about my day. And then I also kept a little mini Bic lighter in that pocket. Over on this side is a headlamp. It's a black diamond. I can't remember which one right off. I had this before the trail. It worked great. It's got red light, blue light, green light, high beam, low beam. I really like this headlamp. And then this little, it was a bug net pouch. Kept the spare batteries for my camera that I made videos with. I carried 3 and 1 in the camera. I could have got by with probably just 2 batteries. And I keep them in these little Ziploc bags. And then when I used the camera, it was dead. Like this one's dead. I put contacts down for dead. And these two here are charged. Contacts are up. That's just how it worked pretty well for me. So. And this little bag's like silk nylon. Looks like a dry bag. So it was a little water resistant. They never got wet. And then I kept this baseball cap. That's Bit Kicks. I got this at a state park in North Carolina. Did not use it a lot, but there's just times where the sun's shining, you just need it to protect your nose. Even with the hood on my shirt, depending on the sun angle, I wear the hat. And then I also carried this little sun compass, but I always take a compass of some kind when I go in the woods. If you got off the trail, go to the bathroom or something, you could get your bearing, and then you'd know physically which way to get back to the trail. So that's only a couple times I ever used it, but it's one of them things I'd never go without. And the camera, it's a Sony AS300 action camera, and it's mounted on a Stuntman shoulder strap mount. Could probably get a better, lighter. This one is kind of heavy. And then this protective cover I got off Etsy, just kind of give it a little wind. When the winds were really high, like Washington, can't do much about it, but it did cut out a lot of wind compared to what it would be without it. I kept a Nalgene. Got some stickers, Crazy Larry's, Bear Garden. I started smart water bottles, got rid of those things. I got tired of them falling over trying to put water in. When you go a half a mile down to a water source, last thing you want is your bottle to turn over. So I started using the Nalgene. On the other side, I kept a Gatorade bottle. I would filter clean water, just carry clean water in this, and then Nalgene, I do all my mixing, drink mixes, etc. Had the umbrellas, the Six Moons Designs, carbon, worked very well. I could mount it to my shoulder strap, put the rain cover over the pack, and then it would keep pretty much from the waist up completely dry unless you had really high winds blowing to the side. But for hot weather, that's irrelevant. You're not caring if you're getting wet, but it is great to keep the water from streaming down your face. Over here, I had this little carabiner. I'd use it for hanging my Canuck bag up to do a gravity feed. But then I kept my gloves once it got colder. I had a pair of Outdoor Research wool glove liners. I would wear these under the fingerless hiking gloves. I started with some NRS paddling gloves, left them at a hostel in Millinocket. Then I got a pair of Buff fingerless gloves. Lost those at Four Pines. I think I left them in the shuttle van. So I picked these up at AutoZone. The Buff ones were my favorite. They were really lightweight, easy to put on, didn't have Velcro. The thing with the Velcro is it catches on your shirt sleeve and stuff. So I'm going to get another pair of the Buff gloves. But yeah, I could wear these under those. It helped with the cold fingertips. And then I had these Outdoor Research over gloves. Has like a waterproof liner. So for really cold, windy, snow, cold rain, sleet, that kind of stuff. So yeah, an outer glove is very nice in the winter. trekking pole was a Lecky cork light. I had these before the trail. I went through 3 sets of tips, and it's probably we're due for getting close to needing a 4th set of tips. The camera mount, I picked that up at an outfitter in Bowling Springs. And like for taking pictures with your phone, just stick it in the ground, take a picture, worked great. The shoes and gaiters, I picked up these outdoor research gaiters in Daleville, Virginia, I believe, when I started using regular shoes. The strap that went on the bottom broke. The rocks, I told the guy when I got it, I said that won't last long. But the bungee held it to my shoe, no problem. But they were starting to wear. Your feet rubbed together. Like this one already had a hole coming in it. So they wouldn't have lasted much longer. I'd have had to get something different. But they did keep junk out of my shoes, so at least that part worked. Once I started wearing regular shoes, I started using the Salomon X Ultras. I got dirt and all, but the tread's still really good. The liner of the shoe was starting to wear. That was one of the reviews that said the insole wore out quickly, so I was probably going to have to get some new insoles. But the shoes looked like they would have probably held up for the when I got them I had 700 miles left, and I think they would have probably made it to the rest of the way. It was really comfortable once they got broke in. I really liked those. In the top brain I had some extra Ziploc bags. Had the Vortex packs that I got at the Angel's Rest. I carried a Write in the Rain journal. I only used once in a hotel that didn't have a notepad by the phone. A click pencil. But I always carry that. You never know. You might need to make a note. You get lost or who knows. And then the ATC's Through Hiker Companion for 2020. I always carry a paper backup. I don't just rely on the phone. I think probably the last time I opened this on trail was in New Hampshire. So probably 800 miles, I never touched it. But if I needed it, it was there. I know a lot of people rip the pages out, whatever. I didn't do that, but I carried it anyway. In the top, I'd carry my snacks for the day. The only food I had left was a pack of tuna and some street tacos. I carried my drink mixes that I was about out of. A long handle spoon. And my seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic. Seasoning makes a meal. That's just me. And then I picked up this for blisters. The one blister I got on my heel, I used it. I never had any more blisters, so probably would not have carried it for very much longer. Got some absorbent waterproof tape made by 3M. It stayed stuck very well, so it worked good, but I probably wouldn't have kept that much longer. I have my glasses case. I just had my eyeglasses, a cleaning rag, and a little bottle of lens cleaner. I didn't wear these very much. I don't have to have glasses, but like for driving to see road signs and stuff. On the trail, I didn't really need them. But I had them if I did need them. On this side was my water filter kit. This little storage bag actually came off the bottom of my E&O bug net for my hammock. I just cut it off the bottom of the bug net and then used it as a water bag. So I had a 3-liter Canuck plain water bag. And I carried a 3-liter Canuck dirty water bag and a Sawyer squeeze. Sawyer squeeze I had for probably 2 years before getting on the trail, and it still works fine. And carried the back flush plunger for that. Everything online said you'd find them at hostels. Most of the hostels that I have stayed did not have a backflush plunger. There were a few, but most of them did not. Then the coupling, so I could put the filter on the end of the filter and do the gravity with the 2 bags. And everything I read said that you'd lose gaskets on the filter. So I carried these 2 extra. Basically one for me and one for someone else if they needed it. I never lost a gasket, so I never needed them. Maybe it was a different design, or the way, I don't know. I never had a gasket failure on my Sawyer, but I carried extra gaskets just in case. And then this little carabiner that I used to put the gloves on, I also used to hang my water bags to do the gravity feed. I'll do a video on those later. Once I switched to regular shoes, my Chacos just became my camp shoes. I would probably not use these as camp shoes. They're a heavy camp shoe. So if I stayed on trail, I was probably going to send these home. I just kept them because I knew I could hike in them if I needed to. But I'd probably send these home and got something like a pair of Crocs. I have a pair of Crocs here that I'm wearing at the moment. So future trips, Crocs would be my camp. I just kept one clip to each side of my pack. And my hoodie, I kept it just straight across, and then the brain straps is what held it on. This is a North Face hoodie. I would hike in it a couple of times, but usually once you start hiking, it doesn't matter how cold it is, the t-shirt's fine. But when you get to take a break somewhere like that, the sweat in your shirt, you'll start freezing instantly. So I kept that right there so I could grab it and throw it on and not get so cold. I carried this Sea to Summit pack towels, an extra small. They make lighter towels. This one was really absorbent. I'd use it to wipe down my tarp, to dry it off, wipe out my cook pot. Even if it was wet, it was still dry. So Thermarest sit pad, awesome. When the logs are wet and they're cold, the shelter floor, you feel it warming up under your butt, so we'll always carry it. There was my tarp. It is a Simply Light Design Winter Haven. It's a big tarp, has doors on both ends. I'm not sure how much it weighs. I'll do a review on it later. I'll actually weigh it. It's probably heavy, 2 pounds, something like that, but it's big. If you've seen any of my videos, you saw it. The weather protection was second to none. I mean, it was great. Had no problems, no holes, no rips, no tears, no failures, the snaps on the doors. It did nothing. Carried this the entire time.